SEC Network Basketball presented by Regions Bank coming your way from Colonial Life Arena here in Columbia, South Carolina. A couple of 1-0 clubs. The Gamecocks of South Carolina playing host to the Golden Eagles of Oral Roberts. Two clubs that certainly are very similar in a lot of ways. Dave Neal alongside Chris Patola, former Army guard and Duke assistant coach. And Chris, certainly this is an interesting early season matchup. What do you make of these two clubs?
I think both these teams mixing older pieces, seniors with impact freshmen and transfers. If you're Oral Roberts tonight, you've got to limit those easy baskets. A deep, athletic South Carolina front court. No dunks in transition, no dunks on old boards. And for South Carolina, you got to dominate that glass. This is the deepest front court that Frank Martin has ever had here at South Carolina. Go to the glass offensively and finish those defensive possessions with a defensive rebound.
Boy, Frank Martin likes his team this year. A great combination, some veterans, some very talented young players. Like P.J. Dozier, one of the top highly recruited players coming out of high school a year ago, found his way to his hometown team here in Columbia. He certainly will be helped in the backcourt by the experience of Sindarius Thornwell. Meanwhile, this Oral Roberts team has the preseason Summit League Player of the Year in Obi Emegano, who averaged over 18 points a game last season. We are underway here in Columbia. Dozier at the point at 6 foot 6 inches. He can certainly see over the 6'1" Jalen Bradley.
Oral Roberts starting in a man. They'll play probably about 95% of man-to-man tonight, said their head coach Scott Sutton.
Kept alive, Carrera to Thornwell. Into the lane, shot clock at 2. Offensive putback by Thornwell, and South Carolina is on the board.
And there it is. The first possession, an offensive rebound. This South Carolina team can struggle to score, have not shot the ball well, but you allow them second chance opportunities, you kill yourself.
Right out of the gate, Albert Owens, the 6'9" sophomore, gets Oral Roberts on the board, tied at 2. Dozier misses that jump shot. Emegano fouled on the perimeter by Carrera, and that's going to be a tough task for Michael Carrera tonight. Emegano is a guy that gets to the free throw line a ton. Last year finished 5th in the country in that department.
Well, he attempted 8 free throws a game. That's the matchup. 24 in white and Emegano in blue, 15. I mean, that is the matchup right there. South Carolina spent so much time guarding the sets that Oral Roberts runs, and they do run a lot for Emegano, as you would expect.
Didn't take long for Marcus Stroman, the sophomore guard, to check into the game. He replaces Dozier, takes an early seat. Here's Anderson, gets a screen from Conley, takes it to the rack. Kaichinis with the rebound. Here's Carrera, the senior out of Venezuela. What, some experience, some youth. South Carolina certainly has some options off the bench, but there's one of the veterans in Kaichinis, the senior from Lithuania.
And a nice duck in there by Kaichinis. And if you're going to be behind these South Carolina post players, and if you allow them to have 2 feet in that paint, going to be tough to stop them at the rim.
Moving screen, Conley. One of the directives, not points of emphasis, the directives. Watch out for the moving screens.
But a lot of times, Dave, the responsibility is on that ball handler or on that guy using the screen, right? They put the screener in a tough spot if you don't allow the screener to get set.
Blocking foul, Thornwell going to the rack. That foul will go against Aaron Anderson, the redshirt junior. Transferred in from Central Oklahoma.
I said Oral Roberts going to play about 95% man. South Carolina zoned a lot last year because, again, they did not shoot it well from that three-point line. We will see some 2-3 zone, some matchup from Oral Roberts, I would expect tonight.
There goes Carrera flying around. We've seen that for 3 years. Can't save it. It'll be Oral Roberts basketball.
Frank Martin calls Carrera the courage in our locker room. He sets the tone. Of course, he's had to battle inside over the last few years without that front court depth. but he's playing his natural position at the 3, and Frank Martin called him his toughest defender. We asked him yesterday at practice, who's your best defender? He said, well, our toughest defender is Carrera. Our smartest is Sindarius Thornwell.
Well, substitution, we see the freshman Daquan Jeffries check in for Conley. So a freshman for a senior is Conley. Looks like he got poked in the eye. Or the 6'7" senior out of Fort Worth, Texas. Looks like he's in some pain, but Oral Roberts will have it now. Remember, the shot clock at 30 seconds, not 35, so certainly here's a difference with 10 seconds on the shot clock now. Emegano can't get that one to drop. Rebound, Hetkevicius. Stroman in the lane. Kaichinis to Thornwell. Dump down to Hetkevicius. He will throw it through the cylinder.
You know, playing in the post is about angles. You want to score on the block, it's about where you catch it and the angle you have, but how about the pass leading right to the front of the rim for the dunk?
And a foul on Carrera. Emegano draws the second on Carrera.
Here's his poke in the eye just as he went down there. And then Carrera again laying out for it.
Well, that's keeping Conley on the bench, has that towel on his left eye. Oral Roberts will trigger it in. Here's Bradley. Dump down pass. Emegano. He's fouled by Hetkevicius. Might have got bumped down on the perimeter as well. No whistle on that.
He did. He probably got fouled twice, but that's the matchup problem, is you have to close out hard on him because you don't want to give up that 3. But he's so good, Dave, at getting to that mid-range. He's one of the best mid-range players in the country, and then you see the knack for getting fouled. Again, he shot 8 free throws a game last year. That's going to help when you average 18 a game.
Emegano 6'3", 215. Transferred in from Western Illinois. Battled a shoulder injury this summer. Had some surgery. They expected him to be out for quite some time, but quick recovery on a labrum. They're glad to have him.
Yeah, he and Conley, both guys.
Boy, they were working on, South Carolina was working on that exact sequence today at shoot-around, the press break. Frank Martin had a couple of comments when the guys didn't run it well, and they throw it away the first time they have a chance to break the press.
Well, Frank Martin's been doing this a long time, and he knows exactly what's going to be a problem. Those three-quarter court presses, not necessarily intimidating when you look at them head-on as a guard, but the movement out of them can create those pokeaways. There it is. That's a skill, Dave. I mean, that is an absolute skill. You want to be a scorer, you've got to find ways to get to the foul line. And a senior veteran player, a veteran scorer, that's just a really, really good basketball play.
Well, we are seeing why Emegano went to the free throw line 260 times last year. He played 34 minutes a game a year ago. Like to welcome those watching the Florida State women's game to Columbia, South Carolina. Dave Neal, Chris Matola, former Duke assistant coach, with you from Colonial Life Arena. Oral Roberts at 1-0, South Carolina 1-0, going at it. We are just under 16 minutes to go in this one, and Oral Roberts comes into Columbia and takes a 2-point lead early, 8-6. It's a 6-0 run by the Golden Eagles.
Here's that zone. So Oral Roberts started in a man. We said they play about 95% of man. But because of South Carolina's struggles behind that three-point line, you see that 2-3 matchup zone.
Talented freshman Dozier throws it through the hands of Hetkevicius, goes to Stroman. Shot clock at 1 from the corner. Silva's shot off the top of the backboard. They're going to say shot clock violation. So timeout on the floor. We will keep it here in Columbia, where Oral Roberts has an early 8-6 lead over the South Carolina Gamecocks. Well, Thursday night, right here on the SEC ESPN Network, don't miss a chance to see freshman phenom Ben Simmons lead the LSU Tigers against South Alabama. Simmons, the real deal. Coverage starts at 9 o'clock Eastern and will also be streaming live on the Watch ESPN app. Boy, LSU, a team to keep an eye on in the SEC. They could contend for a championship as you look at some of the top freshmen in the Southeastern Conference, and there are some outstanding young players. We got one of them on the floor tonight, and P.J. Dozier, but certainly the list of talent in this league, maybe the best overall recruiting class in quite some time.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The SEC had one of its best years. In fact, the ACC signed 21 top 100 kids. The SEC was right behind them with 20, and there you see the cream of the crop. Really, all those guys have had great starts to the year, and I was excited to see Dozier tonight.
Well, if you just joined us here, this is what you've missed so far. Sindarius Thornwell gets his own miss. The first basket of the game for South Carolina. Got off to a quick start, then a couple of turnovers. But this Oral Roberts team, led by their Albert Owens, their sophomore, down on the post, evened up the tally there with his inside move, and had Kevicius throwing it down. Good position there. Oral Roberts, so a very athletic team, not as big as South Carolina, but still getting into the paint behind Owens. And Oral Roberts, a team in the Summit League that preseason pick number 3 could contend with South Dakota State, North Dakota State. But tonight, what do you think Oral Roberts needs to do to have some success?
Well, this is a deep South Carolina front court. You cannot allow them to get out dunks in transition or dunks off of offensive rebounds. We saw the offensive board early there for Thornwell. You got to limit all those easy baskets, especially when you're playing on the road. And for South Carolina, they've got to dominate the glass. We talked about the depth. This is the deepest front court Frank Martin has had in his time here at South Carolina. They're athletic, they're big. You've got to go after that offensive glass and finish your defensive possessions with that defensive rebound.
Well, certainly, you know, Oral Roberts, a very well-coached team. Scott Sutton leading the charge, now in his 17th season at Oral Roberts, 307 victories. Top assistant, his brother Sean Sutton, former head coach at Oklahoma State. And of course, their father, the legend himself, Eddie Sutton. That foul will go against Aaron Anderson, and that'll be number 2 on the redshirt junior. And it looks like he'll head to the bench, and Coach Sutton will grab Chris Crawford, another one of those exciting freshmen. Boy, watching him today in practice, he can flat out fly with a basketball, can Mr. Crawford.
Well, Scott Sutton was so excited about his freshman class. He's got 2 impact transfers, Anderson one of them, Jalen Bradley, but he is really high on his freshmen.
Silva. Got up high, just not high enough. Here's Bradley. That's a 3 off the back of the iron. A rebound taken out of there by Dwayne Notice. Notice had a nice start in the opening game, was 3 of 3 behind the arc to get things started for the Gamecocks. Thornwell won't go. There's Silva. Boy, is he active.
He is an athletic freak. Off the charts athlete. And it helps. He's got hands like catcher's mitts. I mean, he's got the biggest hands you'll see, like Kawhi Leonard-sized hands. But you saw the ability to get up in the air there.
Emegano. This is the deep 3. Rebound to Kaichitis. Notice. A little too strong. There's Stroman chasing it down. 4 offensive rebounds for South Carolina here in the opening half.
Yeah, we touched on it. It's going to be tough to win on the road, especially if you're Oral Roberts giving up that kind of offense. You see, South Carolina can struggle to score, but you give them those second, third chances, they will finish at the rim.
Foul on Silva underneath. That's the first on Silva. Boy, 9 newcomers on this Oral Roberts team. When we talked to Scott Sutton today, he said it's gone rather smoothly, having so many newcomers. Usually you'll hear coaches say we're still trying to find our way, but I think the core group that he has to work with has helped out.
Well, and they've been unselfish. It's a good shooting and passing team, and they've gelled. Look, they lost 3 of their top 4 scorers. They do bring back in Emegano, the preseason player of the year in the Summit.
Conley, bad eye and all. Got poked in the eye when we first got started. Looks like he has shaken that off as he hit nothing but net on the jumper. Justin Mackey has just checked in for South Carolina. He wears number 20 in white. Fetching in and out. There is Mackey. Offensive rebound again for South Carolina. Can't convert. It'll belong to Oral Roberts. Referees Pat Adams, Ron Groover, and Jeffrey Clark tonight.
Part of the offensive rebounding, Dave, it's certainly size, it's certainly athleticism. It's also wanting the ball and what you emphasize as a coach. And if we know one thing about Frank Martin, he will get on his guys if they are not going to that glass. You see the effort in the early going here.
Crawford was trying to post up in the corner. Pass didn't quite get to him. Turnover from Daquan Jeffries. South Carolina started this game, Chris, 2 of 4 from the field. Since then, they have only hit 2 of 11. Our first look at Eric Cobb, the 6'9" freshman in the post for South Carolina now, wearing number 23.
He is a load.
Offensive foul against the Gamecocks. And that will go against Eric Cobb, the 6'9", 295-pounder.
Just trying to move and find his spot, but gets that hand up around the head of Conley. And the official standing right underneath looking at it.
Fall away, short, rebound. Right into the hands of Dozier. Here comes the freshman from Columbia. Cobb, foul by Conley. He'll head to the free throw line. Boy, Cobb is a big boy.
He is a load. And goes right into that paint and goes right to the rim.
Well, we'll step aside. 11:55 to go in the first half. South Carolina down by 2 despite the Hatkevicius dunk. We're not shooting. And welcome back to SEC Network Basketball presented by Regions Bank. We're in Colonial Life Arena where South Carolina trailing by 2 to Oral Roberts. Just under 12 minutes to go. Well, Wednesday, the SEC ESPN Network grants you an all-access pass into LSU football for their big game against Arkansas last week. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sounds from pregame to postgame. It's SEC Inside, presented by Chick-fil-A for Arkansas and LSU. It's coming up Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on the SEC ESPN Network and streaming live on the Watch ESPN app. That will be quite interesting, seeing how that game turned out. Arkansas playing some great football right now. Outside of Alabama, maybe the hottest team in the league. Well, both teams started this game 2 out of 4 from the field, but they have gone cold. Oral Roberts just 1 of their last 5. South Carolina, just 1 of their last 8 and 0 for their last 4. And they're not horrible looks, it's just not going down.
Well, they have 6 second chance points, 8 overall. So if they're not getting those offensive rebounds, and a lot of it has to do, Oral Roberts goes to that 2-3 zone, which is difficult to rebound out of. You don't have rebound, checkout responsibilities.
Mackey off the inbounds, no good for 3. Kaichinis, another second chance opportunity. Dwayne Notice chases it down and gets it to Dozier. Kaichinis posting up on the low block to the basket. Boy, nice left-handed move. Went right over Trey Vance.
Well, Kaichinis has played a little undersized over the last few years, but you see matching up against other 4 men, a much better matchup for him. Forced to play against other 5 guys out of necessity. This year, doesn't have to.
Turnover by Oral Roberts.
Look, starts with a post-up, the Sigma move, the face-up, and then drives it aggressively to that front of the rim. What a nice play.
I like the Sigma move, the Jack Sigma reference.
Went back to
God,
your day,
love that.
It's going right into your wheelhouse.
The old Seattle Supersonic. Don't get enough Sigma references.
No,
You don't. You just
you
can't.
need more.
Right.
That's why I'm starting it this year, the Sigma trend.
Kaichinis taps it to Thornwell from the free throw line, knocks it home.
It's going to get redundant, and I promise I'll stop, but another second chance opportunity, and you see it just, and Scott Sutton today at the shoot-around said we have to limit those chances.
Chris, 7 offensive rebounds, 10 second chance points for South Carolina. A 12-10 game. Gamecocks trying to stretch it out. Nice left-handed layup from Dwayne Notice. 6-0 Gamecock run. Aaron Young to the corner. Kicked out of bounds by Kaichinis. 17 on the shot clock. Substitutions on the floor for Oral Roberts. Emegano back on the floor, along with Anderson and Daquan Jeffries.
Both these teams deep, Dave. We've already seen both teams between them play 19 guys.
Oral Roberts trying to find something to go through the cylinder. Scoreless for 3 minutes. Bradley, little fall away, pins it. It'll be South Carolina basketball.
And what a good challenge from Kaichinis against the smaller Bradley. Didn't foul him.
Oh, I thought it was a shot clock violation, but they're going to say the ball.
Yeah, alternate possession on the.
Yeah, they're going to say jump ball. So yeah, possession arrow favors Oral Roberts. I thought that was a shot clock violation. Ron Groover says no.
And then they did reset it because it hit the rim.
Emegano. He is 0 for 2 from the floor, but he does have 4 free throws. Dozier picks up that foul.
Here's that shot, and the ball just lodges, and you never feel good as a player when that happens. There's just something that does not look artistic about that.
No, you never want to pin it against the backboard like that. That happens in my backyard, but it shouldn't happen here, right?
No, you never feel good.
The only problem is in my backyard, I can't get, there's nobody to get it out.
Yeah, no, true, good point. You need a broomstick. No problem getting it out on this floor.
Emegano, 5 out of 5. Make it 6 out of 6 from the line. That's all of his points.
And here's that three-quarter court. South Carolina, again, like you said, worked on a lot at the shoot-around today. Turned it over the first possession against it tonight.
Thornwell can't get it to go. Emegano back the other way. It'll be Oral Roberts basketball. An experienced lineup on the floor now for South Carolina. No freshman Stroman noticed Thornwell in the backcourt. Got Kevicius and Kaichinis down in the post for South Carolina. Bounced off Kaichinis over there in front of the bench. It'll still belong to Oral Roberts. 18 on the shot clock. Boy, a great time to double the ball over there in the corner, but South Carolina didn't get there in time. Shot clock goes under 10. Emegano double pumps, Thornwell the rebound. Boy, tough to get a good look right now.
And that's where Emegano wants to play, in that mid-range, but a good challenge inside with the length and size of South Carolina.
Boy, Thornwell, nice crossover, gets bumped on the way to the paint, and that's a different Darius Thornwell than a year ago, when played in so much pain, had bad knees, never complained about it, but just didn't have the same step he had as a freshman, but looks like he's got it back.
It does, and this is why I say this year of all years, when in doubt, drive it. Because I think officials are looking to call that, especially early in the season. Put the pressure on the defense, force them to guard you off the bounce.
And Kevish is in and out. Screams in frustration on the way back. .8:27 to go, opening half. 2-point lead for the Gamecocks. It's been close since the opening tap. Bradley couldn't get it to go off the back of the iron.
And another challenge. Oral Roberts getting to the rim, but Kevish is doing a nice job altering shots. What a play. Oh!
Blocked by Jeffries.
What a big-time block.
Owens the other way. He lays it up and in.
And turning defense to offense.
How about the 6'5" Jeffries blocking the 6'11" Kevicius?
Well, and those are the kind of plays, Dave, that drive Frank Martin crazy about his big fella. Because he makes a great offensive play, he gets to the basket, and then there's somebody who's able to meet him. You've got to go to dunk this, but denied at the rim. And then they turn it into points on the other end, and when you're playing on the road, you got to make plays like that.
Boy, it has been some trying times here the past few months in South Carolina. Of course, the devastating shootings in Charleston, the flag controversy, finally the Confederate flag removed from the state capitol, and then the devastating floods just about a month ago here in Columbia and throughout the state of South Carolina. Just some trying times, but this state has certainly overcome. Amazing what this state, this city has been able to accomplish despite all of the troubles. I was here for a football game about a week after the floods, after they moved their football game to Baton Rouge. We were here the following week, and that was the same time Coach Steve Spurrier decided he was going to resign from football as the head coach of the Gamecocks. And, I mean, just craziness. And matter of fact, the floods actually occurred the day that South Carolina was supposed to open up basketball practice, and they had to postpone that. The basketball team went out in the community, helped wherever they could. Nobody on the team, fortunately, was affected by the floods, but so much damage done. When you drive through town today, just an absolute gorgeous day.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
it's beautiful. It really is.
Basketball team in a real battle, though, with Oral Roberts out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. 16-14, Gamecocks out in front. Here's Bradley. Shot clock at 5. Gets tied up, gets it to Anderson. Boy, a big collision in the paint. They're going to say blocking foul and count the basket.
Just a nice job being patient, Dave. I mean, South Carolina puts so much pressure on you, but look at this. Why not just put it up there? See what happens. A great play by Aaron Anderson. You know, Oral Roberts, Scott Sutton recruited Anderson out of high school. He ended up going elsewhere, but they are glad he transferred back, a starter for them now.
Can't convert the three-point play. Had 8 points in the opener, playing 23 minutes against Missouri State. There's Notice out of the corner, burying the 3. 5 points now for Dwayne.
Give him a lot of credit. He's a junior. He's first 2 games of the year. He's coming off the bench. He has accepted that role, done whatever Frank Martin's asked him to do, and he is a specialist from downtown.
3 out of 6 in the opener from behind the arc. Emegano tried to draw Thornwell into a foul, but he still buries the shot.
He almost got it. That's why I say he is one of the best mid-range players, and you don't see a lot of those anymore, Dave.
No.
He is one of the best mid-range guys in the country.
So it can happen. You can score points from the mid.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You can.
Emegano, there he is, mid-range jumper off the window.
It takes, I'm telling you, you don't see it. It's either I'm going to dunk or I'm a three-point specialist. You don't see that mid-range utilized enough. But how about that? To stop on the break, off the glass, old school, my friend.
That is old school. It's been a long time since I've seen that off the backboard from 10 feet. Well, Friday night on the SEC ESPN Network, we've got John Calipari's Kentucky Wildcats taking on Wright State. Tyler Ewells will push the pace for the Cats, and we'll learn more about this young and talented Wildcat group. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll also be streaming it live on Watch ESPN. Your thoughts about Kentucky? It's you certainly say the big turnover that's got to be difficult, but that's commonplace in Lexington.
Yeah. They are the biggest wait-and-see team every year for me. I mean, look, 2013, they go to the NIT. 2014, they weren't really good in the regular season, but they make a run to the Final Four. It's just, with freshmen, you never know. Talented, though, obviously.
Here's Silva, the freshman to the basket. Drew the foul. He'll head to the free throw line.
South Carolina needed frontline help, and they got it with this guy. I mean, really athleticism up front. And he is as good an athlete as you will find.
Look at Scott Sutton. Just saw one of his post players, Brandon Conley, pick up his 3rd foul. And because of that, Conley will now head to the bench. And Daquan Jeffries, the freshman out of Edmond, Oklahoma, who is a tremendous athlete, checks into the game. See the numbers for Silva, 12 points, 8 of 12 from the floor in his first collegiate game on Saturday night. Here's Jeffries, gets it off to Aaron Anderson. Emegano They're going to say a blocking foul. Emegano says he was in the process of shooting.
Just a nice drive there, and I like the call. It was a block. It's interesting. South Carolina, Frank Martin started the game with his toughest defender in Carrera on Emegano, but he has now gone to Sindarius Thornwell, his smartest defender, and still no answer. Emegano living at that foul line.
Now with 11 points, Emegano 7 out of 7 at the stripe tonight.
That's what great scorers do. Yeah, you may not get it from the field, but they have a knack for getting to that foul line, and they shoot a high percentage.
3-point lead by the Golden Eagles. Mackey left it short. Foul on Silva. Trying to slap it away from Anderson. Will go the other way. Second foul on Silva.
Of Silva's 9 rebounds in their opener, 5 of them were offensive. And again, he's a great athlete. He has good size, but he also has a will and a nose to go after that basketball. And he also knows what's going to get him on the floor.
So Anderson, who redshirted last year, started his career at Fresno State, then transferred to Central Oklahoma before finding his way back to this Oral Roberts team, as you mentioned, recruited out of high school by Scott Sutton. It's an 8-0 run now by the Golden Eagles. Largest lead by either club tonight sits at 5. Press break offense gets it to Mackey. Now Thornwell, Stroman. Oral Roberts sits back in that zone. Boy, Stroman just threw it off the backboard. Wasn't even close.
Well, they're out of rhythm right now. And I think the containment press back to the zone has really confused South Carolina a little bit.
Offensive foul. That'll go against Anderson, and that'll be number 3 on him. Did he lower the shoulder?
Yeah, and extended that arm a little bit too. And the defender was in good position. You know, play like that, just a good defensive play.
4:47 to go, first half. South Carolina with their hands full with this Oral Roberts club.
That's where you got to get it, right there.
Boy, nice offense, but Mackey's got to convert. He's had a couple of wide open looks, just nothing through the cylinder.
South Carolina was zoned a lot last year. They shot in the 30s from 3, not a good shooting, perimeter shooting team. And I think the expectation is a lot of that will continue this year. So you see the zone, the extensive zone from Oral Roberts, and it's giving this South Carolina team some problems.
Kaitutis at the line. 4-point game. Boy, South Carolina just 1 out of 7 of their last 7 from the field. They're shooting 29% for the game. And look, I mean, they've had some quality looks.
Absolutely.
It's not like their offense isn't working.
Well, that last possession, they got a great shot from the corner. Nice little mid-range shot.
Oral Roberts has hit 4 of their last 4 from the field. Emegano elevates. Oh.
It's just too much space, but you're worried about him putting it on the ground. So, you know, hand down, man down. Just too much space for a score like that.
14 in the first half for Emegano. Thornwell lines it up. That won't go. Good rebound by the freshman Jeffries.
Playing against the zone can be intoxicating. You think it's a good shot when, in fact, at this point in the game, time, score, momentum, you'd like to see Thornwell drive that into the teeth of the zone.
Well, you can see the confidence in the Oral Roberts team right now. Guys moving with a little extra pep in their step with a 5-point lead on the road. Emegano bumped on the way in. That'll go against Mackey. And Emegano will go back to the free throw line when we come. He's been there all game. He's 8 out of 8. 26-21. Golden Eagles up. All right, thank you, Peter. Hard to believe college basketball is in full swing again. I love it. Oral Roberts on the road, though, beating South Carolina 26-21, 3:36 to go in the opening frame. If you had to digest this first half to this point, what has Oral Roberts done very well to allow them this 5-point advantage?
Well, their best player has 14 points, and he's lived at the foul line. I mean, that's a big piece of it. South Carolina only has 21 points, and like you mentioned, they've gotten good looks. They just have not knocked them down.
15 for Emegano. He is 9 out of 9 at the free throw line. He shot 78% at the line a year ago, averaging 18.3 points last season. Played 35 minutes in the opener against Missouri State, had 15 points.
And the zone has really flummoxed South Carolina. You know, they've moved the ball, a lot of it though, east-west.
Dwayne Notice with the three. His second three of the night.
You like to see that go down if you're Frank Martin, because he's the one guy who can make you pay in that zone.
Shot clock at 7. Emegano. Bounce pass to Bradley. Shot clock hitting 0. Not much that Aaron Young could do with it. Shoots an air ball. Shot clock violation.
Everybody wants to know the impact of the shot clock. That was a decent example right there. Oral Roberts ran a little bit of false motion and then got to that high pick and roll that they wanted with Emegano. When you don't get anything out of that thrust from Emegano, then you start to run low on clock, and that's where you get that shot clock violation.
Dwayne Notice 3 out of 4, couple of three-pointers. The rest of the team 6 out of 25, 0 for 8 from behind the arc. Dwayne Notice has kept him in this one at Kevicius. Little jump hook off the front of the iron, drops through.
It's a good play. I mean, they're playing behind Hetkevicius, one-on-one. There's no double. Just go to work and shoot that little jump hook.
2-point game. The dump down to nobody. Kaichida saves it to Strobin. In the corner, Notice. Kaichida's top of the key, 3. Won't go. Here's Young. Overshot everything.
That was not a good shot.
From the corner, Sindarius Thornwell buries the three. Timeout, Oral Roberts, as South Carolina has come back to take a 1-point lead on an 8-0 run.
Well, that was not a high percentage shot from Young on one end, and that's what it leads to on the other. You don't force South Carolina to play defense on one end, and then you allow them to come up the other end, and momentum changes quickly, Dave, as you know, in this game of hoops.
Young coming off the bench for Oral Roberts, a junior. Averaged 6 points a game last year, trying to force the issue.
And this is a good shot right here. We mentioned it. They got it into the middle of the zone, got a nice cross-court pass, but a lot of it, and then right here, when you get your shooter, nice little flare pick from Hetkevicius, but those have been few and far between. That guy right there, though, we know can get it going.
Oral Roberts has been somewhat content to play that zone. They're usually a man team most of the time. Forcing South Carolina to prove they can make the three. Bradley dumps it inside now. Owens spins, no good. Tapped around, Kaichitis comes away with it. His 7th rebound here in the opening half. Hetkevicius is fouled by Owens. Reach in. That's his 2nd.
He's got to be careful. He is their one-post presence, their one-post player, a guy, as you saw on the other end, they can throw it to on the block. And a silly foul. I mean, he was already behind Hetkevicius. Just let him catch and try to be big and make him score over the top.
Hetkevicius knocks home the free throw. Last year, 72% at the line, but only 55 free throws for the 6'11 Lithuanian. Vance checks in.
It's a good thing in this game I'm fluent in Lithuanian, Dave.
That's good. I'm not.
I was well prepared.
There you go. That would be a one-way conversation with me. We approach a minute to go, opening half. South Carolina has trailed by as much as 7, but they lead it by 3 now. Crawford off the backboard.
Tough finish.
His first basket. Almost, it is a takeaway and then given right back to South Carolina. Emegano thought he was going the other way. Shot clock never reset. Thornwell. Notice, wide open 3, no good. Jeffries the rebound. And Oral Roberts can hold for a final shot if they so choose. Emegano with an elbow to Thornwell. That'll be the 2nd on Emegano.
Look at this finish right here. Just breaks down the defender. This is just one-on-one. And right up over the top with the giant killer, using that glass. Nicely done.
Well, Chris, they're going to go to the monitors and see if there wasn't some contact above the shoulders to the head and neck area by Emegano. Pat Adams, Ron Groover over at the monitor. Pat Adams, our referee today, our lead official, if you will.
I mean, he definitely caught him.
Boy, there was some contact right to the side of the face. Now, obviously there's contact there, but there is also one of the new rules in college basketball, no more flopping.
Right,
now, there was contact there, but we have seen in the past guys will see the elbow come up and they will go ahead and fall back like they were hit.
Right.
Not anymore. Let's see what Pat Adams and Ron Groover decide. Looks like there was some contact. One more look at it.
Adams stepped away, and now they sent over Jeffrey Clark to get another set of eyes on it.
Look at it a little bit slower and see. All right, now, all right. There's two parts to that. A, there was some contact, but B, it looked like a little bit of an addition.
One elbow foul. 15 blue.
So they are going to call it a flagrant one, elbow, which there was, but a little extra sauce.
Right.
By
He's saying
Thornwell.
he sold it, is what you're saying, yeah.
So Thornwell will shoot the technical fouls.
Well, and Thornwell really induces that. I mean, just being a gnat on Emegano, and Emegano trying to get the ball here to have it with the last possession.
Boy, and Emegano picks up the flagrant, and he will watch the last 15 seconds of this half. South Carolina with a chance to stretch this three-point lead. Thornwell, though, spins, can't get it to go. Notice, fires with 3 seconds, and that won't go. The tap, no good, and that'll do it for the first half. Well, we thought this would be a good one. Oral Roberts comes in here with some good talent, and it's only a 3-point lead for South Carolina. Scott Sutton not happy, but that'll do it for the first half. Time to get it to the studios. Let's join Peter Burns. It's all yours, Peter. You are watching SEC Network Basketball presented by Regions Bank. Back inside Colonial Life Arena. Moments away from second half hoops. South Carolina leading at 33-30. Dave Neal back alongside Chris Patola. And Chris, not the cleanest first half. Nonetheless, South Carolina, after 20 minutes of hoops, lead by 3. How were they able to have this 3-point lead?
Well, they have 20 points off of turnovers and second chance points. And that's a big part of figuring out ways to score when you're not shooting it well. And here are some of these second chance points. This started the game. We talked about how important it was for Oral Roberts to limit these right here. But these were the cheap buckets. You know, there's Chris Silva finishing up, following up that one. Again, Thornwell picking up the loose stuff and finishing there. Again, 20 points off of those cheap ones. And for Oral Roberts, it's been all this guy. He has over half of their points, 16 points. If you are missing this show, you need to stay here for the second half. This guy can really score, man. He has such a high IQ to score that basketball. And this ended the half right here, that flagrant foul. But, man, he has carried Oral Roberts in this first half.
For Frank Martin, he talked to us today about how he feels like there's not necessarily a go-to guy, very balanced, and we're seeing that in the scoring column today.
We are. Look, it's part of the depth. I mean, their starting point guard, their stud freshman, P.J. Dozier doesn't play a lot. But they get inside with the Cavicius, Kachinas, and then they come outside with their 2 experienced guards in Thornwell and Dwayne Notice.
Well, Emegano, 16 first half points. He averaged 18 a game a year ago, had 15 in their opener against Missouri State, but 10 of 10 at the free throw line. We told you he finished 5th in the country last year in free throw attempts. He attempted over 200, actually 260 on the button a year ago. South Carolina with the opening possession of the second half. If you're Frank Martin, what was your message to your club?
Well, they got it. I think going onto the block. You know, I think hitting that. There you go, right there. I mean, that's the advantage that they have. The size and the physicality inside. They had some success scoring on the block, but the zone really sort of fell in love with shooting that ball from the perimeter.
Boy, a little runner, right-handed shot from Bradley gets it to go down, so we exchange baskets here in the opening minute. Remember, Carrera, who had that basket for South Carolina, picked up 2 early fouls, and Kevicius steps back and knocks home the 3. Last year, he was 8 out of 27, 29% from behind the arc. Emegano, he's open. He knocks home a 3. How about the scoring to start the second half?
And that's just too much space. We said it in the first half. You know, Carrera just too far off, started on the weak side, and you're just giving a great score too much room.
Good pass by Dozier to Kachinas. He'll take the 15-footer. There's Kevicius for the putback. Another offensive rebound. Nothing to show for it. Emegano. Blocked by Kevicius, but right back to Emegano. He'll line up a 3. Got it. Oh, man. 22 for Obi. Thornwell had a quiet first half. He steps inside the arc, off the front of the iron. Tapped around, saved to Dozier. Thornwell. Contact in the lane. They're going to say blocking foul against Oral Roberts. And that'll go against Brandon Conley. And bad news for the Golden Eagles. That's number 4.
And that is a problem. And that's, you know, we're going to see in the second half the impact that fouls have on this Oral Roberts team. You know, South Carolina started the game, Dave. They had 7 offensive rebounds in the first 10 minutes. In the second 10 minutes of that half, they had 0. Already to start this half, they have 2 boards. And here Thornwell putting up points off of that offensive rebound.
Thornwell. Misses that free throw, but Kachinas there for the putback. Boy, I look at the Sutton brothers, Scott and Sean on that bench. for Oral Roberts, and they both lean back in their chair and shake their heads. Tapped around into Carrera's hands. Here comes Notice. Thornwell, Kaichinis. Carrera had Kevish's great post up underneath.
Yeah, and what a delivery. I mean, just again, where you catch it, the angle you have, and then the beautiful delivery from Carrera.
Blocking foul on Carrera. That'll be his third.
That's just, Carrera's just not the matchup, you know, for Emegano. Emegano's too smart. He's too good at getting fouled. Carrera, tough. He's aggressive. Just can't play him against Emegano.
Well, not a whole lot of minutes tonight for Mr. Carrera. He played 3 minutes in the first half. He gets a quality 3 minutes here in the second to start.
South Carolina showing a little zone here, 2-3 zone.
There's the double in the corner. Emegano nowhere to go, tries to throw it off Silva and does so. Nine on the shot clock. Anderson will trigger it in. Oral Roberts last year 19 and 15, went 10 and 6 in the Summit League, and a foul there against Stroman. Excuse me, Silva picks up the foul, and that'll be number 3 on Silva. And he's to the bench. And here comes another freshman, and Eric Cobb. Emegano, ball fake, back to Bradley. He's open for 3. That won't go. Rebound to Cobb. Thornwell. Notice, got it. Catch and shoot for Dwayne Notice. Knocks it home, give him 11.
He just comes into the game to make an impact. Whatever Coach Martin asks him to do, he's ready. And his outside shooting has been a lifesaver for South Carolina.
It's an 8-0 run, largest lead of the game now for South Carolina, and a traveling violation. We'll give it back to the Gamecocks, but we have our first time out of the second half. Despite the 8-point lead, Frank Martin still coaching them up. Dwayne Notice feeling it at home behind the arc. Back inside Colonial Life Arena, SEC Network Basketball. South Carolina leading Oral Roberts by 8. And Hetkevicius down in the post for South Carolina at 6'11". A senior's played a lot of minutes for Frank Martin, starting to pay dividends tonight.
He's shown you the full arsenal. Yesterday in practice, Frank Martin called Lemonis Hetkevicius the key to their team, and he has shown you the array of skills. There's in the post. We saw the three. He's got guys looking for him down on that low block. He is the key, and it has been a process with the big Lithuanian under Frank Martin. But if he can play like he's played tonight, this South Carolina team can make some waves in this SEC.
South Carolina picked 7th in the SEC this year. Highest they have been picked since the league got rid of divisional play back in 2012. Kentucky, of course, expected to win the league, followed by Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and there's LSU. Georgia with a tough loss to open up the season. They lost to Chattanooga last Friday night, but Georgia's still a team that I think when it's all said and done will be a factor.
You know, I picked South Carolina as my sleeper in the SEC because look, they can't shoot, but they check all the blocks. I mean, they have senior leadership, they have size, they have depth, and they now have 2 point guards you can platoon in there. So I could see them having a very good year.
Well, if Dwayne Notice continues to shoot the rock from behind the arc, you definitely have a perimeter presence. Emegano with another shot, 24.
I mean, that is a tough shot. I don't think people realize how difficult a shot that is. The shot fake into the shot from the mid-range.
Here's Kopp, kicks it out to Thornwell. He lines it up. That's off the mark. There's one area of Thornwell's game that certainly they hoped he would improve upon. It's the three-point shooting, just 29% a year ago.
Well, part of last year, you could blame it on the bum knees. It's tough to shoot without legs.
Here's Thornwell, the open floor. Off to Notice. Can't get the layup, but Kaichin is there. Ten rebounds for Kaichin tonight.
And he's not the most athletic. He's not the biggest, but he's got a nose for the ball. What a play there. Just followed the play.
Daquan Jeffries.
There he is again. Well, they've run that play now. I mean, the last three he had, it's the same exact play. Ball reversal into a little pin down, and he comes off firing.
3 threes in the opener, 4 threes tonight. So he is 7 out of 12 to start this 15-16 campaign. And 26 now for Emegano. Emegano was second in the Summit League in scoring a year ago. The way he's going now, you can count him as the leading scorer, perhaps when it's all said and done. There goes Dwayne Notice taking it inside.
Of course, Notice back at his natural position. He's a shooter. He's a specialist. And so they've got him coming off the bench now, instant offense, and he's been great for them in these first 2 games.
And a good rebound by Dwayne. And a technical foul issued against Scott Sutton. Obviously said something to Rod Gruber running up the floor. Notice gets them both. Notice with 10 points here in the second half, has 17 in the game. Make that 18 in the game to lead the Gamecocks. 4 players in double figures for South Carolina now. Hetkevicius with 13, Thornwell with 10, Chinas with 10. Cobb his first basket.
And he shows you the feet. I mean, for his size, you're shocked at how good his hands and his feet are.
Ooh. A thunderous throwdown from Brandon Conley, who has been sitting on the bench most of the game with foul trouble.
He was taking out Scott Sutton's anger on that one right there.
Dozier hadn't played a whole lot of minutes tonight. The talented, highly talked about freshman for South Carolina. He'll swing it around the perimeter. Shot clock at 7. Kevicius with 3 on the shot clock. And a shot clock violation.
Oral Roberts back into the zone. And with this lineup, you know, not really anybody out there for South Carolina with Dwayne Notice sitting on that bench. Nobody really to shoot it from that perimeter except for Kevicius. So the zone, again, standing South Carolina up a little bit on these last 2 possessions.
That is the first South Carolina turnover since about the 6:20 mark of the first half, about 14 minutes of play. Carolina's opened it up to a 13-point bulge. And a foul on the inside, as Albert Owens will head to the free throw line when we come back. Second half has belonged to South Carolina. Oral Roberts trying to do what they can. A thunderous throwdown by Conley. They'll need more of that to get back in it. Dave Neal back alongside Chris Patola, former Army guard and Duke assistant coach, and we have watched South Carolina take a 3-point halftime lead and build it to 13 as we look at today's All-State Good Hands play of the game. And really, we have to go to the offensive rebounds because South Carolina's dominated that department.
Well, that was the edge. We said from the outset it was a key for Oral Roberts, limiting second chances. Tonight, South Carolina is plus 14 on second chance points. And what's the difference in this game, Dave Neal? 13. There you go. So, I mean, they had the size, the length, the athleticism, and they have gone to that glass tonight, and it's really been their best offense. Look at that right there.
And then the other, where it matters the most on the big board, it's plus 13. And how about Kaichinis? He has 6 offensive rebounds out of his 12. 10 points, his 4th career double-double. Had Kevicius tonight, has put together a 13.4 rebound game. Oral Roberts to the free throw line. Albert Owens, the 6'9 sophomore out of Cedar Hill, Texas, will toe the line. Last year, just 51% from the stripe. The big fella gets 1 out of 2. saw Oral Roberts spend quite a bit of time in that first half back in a zone defense. Hadn't seen a whole lot of that here in the second half. There's Hetkevicius making it look easy.
They're just, those two Lithuanians are just going right to the front of the rim on any shot and collecting everything.
Here's Dozier. The Lithuanians tonight for South Carolina have amassed 25 points and 17 boards.
It's a big night for the country of Lithuania. They should be proud because those two guys, you wouldn't know it yesterday in practice.
No.
Frank Martin goes hard on those two guys, but they can take it and they respond as they have tonight.
Loose ball on the floor and a foul against South Carolina's Mindaugas Kachinas. That'll be his first. Dozier to the bench again. It's been a tough night for the freshman. He has been in and out of the lineup for Frank Martin tonight.
Well, he's a freshman, right? Yeah. Back in the old day. We'll go old school again. That's the process of freshmen. And defensively, it's been a challenge for him. Frank Martin said as much yesterday.
Emegano misses that shot. But Conley with a push in the back, and that'll be number 5 on him. A very quiet night for Brandon Conley, the senior out of Fort Worth. Not a lot of minutes because of foul trouble, and his night is done early.
Scott Sutton left him in the game because of the job that South Carolina's done on the glass. Conley, their best rebounder. So you take the chance of leaving him in there, and he's just too aggressive with 4 fouls.
Hetkevicius.
Nicely done.
Count it.
Nicely
Off the
done.
basket.
Yeah, just the patience is what stands out. He checks, there's no double, and he goes to work with his back to the basket. Look at the catch. He surveys and then goes right to work. And how about the spin into the shot? Look at this angle right here. I mean, that's tough to guard.
Can't convert the three-point play. Hetkevicius having a heck of a night. And a foul against the Gamecocks. That'll go against Hetkevicius. That'll be his first.
With Hetkevicius, you saw the post move on the other end. That's one of the areas he has really improved. Was always a multi-dimensional player, but he's built up his body, has worked on that post game, and you're seeing the results tonight.
Approaching 10 minutes to go in the game. In and out from downtown. Oral Roberts just having a tough time finding a basket right now. Jeffries knocks it out of bounds. It'll belong to the Gamecocks.
How many times have we seen that pass over the top into the post? Oral Roberts fronting those post guys. Kachinas drives them up the lane and the pass over the top.
Here's Carrera. Off to Thornwell. That one swatted out of there by Owens. Shot clock. It's 5. Notice bumped. There's your freedom of movement foul.
There it is. That's why I say the benefit of the doubt is going to go to the ball handler. Just drive it. Put that pressure on the defense to have to stay in front and guard you without putting a hand on you. This is just playing with the ball, and again, it's very difficult, especially if you're not going to get help. Chris Martin a little late coming over.
Notice, no good. Kept alive by Kachinas off to Carrera to Hetkevicius. And he'll head to the free throw line where he's 4 out of 5 tonight.
How about Kachinas? It's just a winning play from your senior. Lays out, just gets a hand on it, and you give your team another possession, chance to score.
Hetkevicius looking to match his career high if he can knock down this free throw, and he does so. He scored 18 twice last year. Mississippi State was the last outing back at the end of February. Had 13 in the opener, but looking for a new career high. There you go.
Confidence is so big with him, as it is with all players. But I mean, when he's playing well, he feels good about his game.
Rebound story. 33-20, South Carolina out in front, but Owens with that offensive rebound will step to the free throw line.
Owens only a sophomore. Talk about confidence. He lacked some confidence last year, but he averaged 15 points a game on their foreign trip. They went to the Dominican this summer and really came into his own, has the ability to be an all-conference player in the Summit. That's the first thing you can't teach, and that's a big body.
Silva checks out with 4 fouls. He hasn't played a whole lot of minutes tonight either because of foul trouble.
Isn't it amazing, Dave? You get into games, the regular season, especially early in the year, and it's your older players. Dwayne Notice, Kachinas, Hetkevicius, and the freshman P.J. Dozier, Chris Silva has struggled tonight.
Mackey can't get one to go down tonight. He's now 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from behind the arc. Frank Martin's team up 17, but still coaching this group like it's a 1-point game. I think he feels like this could be a team that could surprise some folks. And talking to him today, you felt like he had the pieces. There's a ways to go, but the nucleus is there.
No, he feels really good about where they're at. You could see it in his face, and it's not easy with him. And the freshmen have come in to learn. They have some highly touted freshmen, a really good recruiting class, but it's a self-aware freshman class. They understand that there are senior leaders on this team.
Carrera, catch and shoot, no good. Rebound Martin. Emegano with 26 to lead the Golden Eagles. And Hetkevicius reaches over Vance. That'll be the third on Hetkevicius.
That's a good call. He didn't like the call, but you can't reach over the top, especially in this day and age. You were behind him, just let him catch and play good defense. Frank's not, he's at a career high, and Coach Martin is not pleased.
You know what he said, though, about Hetkevicius today? That he is really invested in the program. He's invested into his teammates, and because of that, he's invested into him. Hetkevicius has had one of those nights where it's been a career night, but not good enough.
Which is why he keeps getting better, right?
Yes. Carrera.
Ooh.
That was a big time move.
It was big time athleticism.
Emegano trying to throw one down. Knight just got that one. Emegano probably getting some frustration out. Hadn't had many good looks here in the last 10 minutes or so, despite the 26 points on the board. There goes Cobb, the freshman, off the window.
I said to you a few minutes ago, Oral Roberts played really well in that first half, but in a game like this, when you're out-athleted, outsized, sometimes that can have a cumulative effect, and you don't see that fatigue until the second half. Oral Roberts just a little tired right now.
Bradley buries the three, but South Carolina in control with 7:19 to go. It's a 16-point lead for the Gamecocks.
The putback by the super freshman Asia Wilson. The putback by the super freshman Asia Wilson. Tiffany Mitchell calmly buries the three.
The South Carolina Gamecocks, champions of the 2015 women's tournament in the SEC.
That is a very, very potent basketball team.
What a job Dawn Staley has done taking over this program that was really in the doldrums, and it took a couple of years, but she has done it her way, and they are among the best in the business. UConn, #1, but South Carolina right on their heels trying to make some noise again. Tennessee sitting there at #4. Mississippi State, great run last year. And there is Asia. She has a vested interest in this one. Her younger brother, PJ Dozier, the super talented freshman. Pretty good basketball family, huh? Dad, uncle also played here.
That's a lot of pressure, your sister at the game.
Yeah, I
don't know about that. But if you look at the people in his life, you understand why PJ Dozier gets it. I mean, his dad, his uncle were not just great players here, but they were coaches. His sister's a player here.
Cobb with that basket, he has 6. As a matter of fact, the last time these clubs met was back in the late 80s. Oral Roberts ended up winning the game, snapping a 15-game losing streak against South Carolina, but Perry Dozier, PJ's dad, had a double-double in that one, 16 and 10. Owens with the basket. Only the 3rd meeting ever between these two clubs. Here's Carrera. And Carrera trying to get some points. He spent most of the night on the bench.
He has, in foul trouble, but you see the strength. He's actually their leading returning rebounder, showing the ability to get to that basket.
Here's Owens. Ooh, goaltending by Carrera.
I'll tell you what, there again, Michael Carrera shows you the athleticism on one end, and then cleaning house on the other end. Says, denied, sir.
71-55. South Carolina led by 3 at the break. They have opened it up here in the second half to lead it by 16 with just over 6 minutes to go. Hey, don't forget Friday night on the SEC ESPN Network, another chance to take a look at the Kentucky Wildcats as they take on Wright State. Tyler Eulis, of course, will pace the Cats from that point guard position, and certainly a chance to learn more about that super talented freshman class. Our coverage starts at 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll also be streaming live on the Watch ESPN app. And, you know, interesting, Kentucky tomorrow night, State Farm Classic, big night of basketball. Kentucky, Duke going at it. Interesting. I think I love it when there's those big-time matchups early in the year, and I think from a coach, they probably like it too.
You get that is the best litmus test for where your team is at. Not only the opponent you're playing, but the environment it's going to be. I mean, that event, you've got 3 teams in the top 5. I think Michigan State is underrated right now. They're going to be in the top 10 soon enough. So what an event that has become.
Frank Martin worried about his club right now, and certainly Scott Sutton. They're heading off on what is amounted to an 8-day road trip. He said this time last year they went on a 15-day road trip, played 5 games in 15 days. So 8 days sounds like a vacation to him after last year.
Well, and Frank Martin was talking about how they play 6 games in 12 days. You ask Bo, who's doing the scheduling in these programs?
Kevicius with a ball fake. Fouled underneath. That'll go against Jeffries. That'll be the second on him. Career high tonight for Lemonis. Sitting on 19 points. Previous high was 18 last year against Mississippi State in late February. Get it to go. Loose ball on the deck. Thornwell scrambling for it. Couldn't come up with it. Here come the Golden Eagles back the other way. Owens. He'll get it off to Martin. Now Bradley. Emegano to the basket. His first points in a while, but he goes down in pain. You could hear him scream in pain as he hit the floor. .28 for Emegano tonight.
Just down the middle, and yeah, I mean, it's scary. When you come down, he lands on that one leg, and probably scared him more than anything coming down on that knee. He does attack the basket, though. He is fearless going to that rim.
Emegano, if you're wondering, his career high is 31.
Again, just a good drive, and Kevicius doesn't make too much of a stand there. And again, I think he just came down on the right leg and probably scared him more than anything else.
What a player. I mean, what a basketball player. He has got he's got the whole game, and he's not a big guy. No,
he's only 6. They list him at 6'3". He's probably closer to 6'2". Has good size, good girth to him, and he's obviously a strong kid. But just an array of moves and really playing that mid-range.
Just gets it to Thornwell. Now they're working with Carrera on the low block. Carrera blocked. Kept it alive, and now Owens hits the deck as he holds his left knee. Oh boy. Oh.
Just anything. Man, Anytime a guy grabs the knee, it just makes me queasy. It really does, especially big guys. I mean, it's just, wow.
Boy, back-to-back trips for Oral Roberts, where two of their starters come down in pain. But Emegano back on the floor, though. 15 in blue, their leading scorer. Entry pass. Kachinas fouled. Not a great foul, as Kachinas was rolling out of bounds. Wasn't a whole lot he could do with it. Daquan Jeffries picks up the foul. And Mendogas with 10 points and 13 rebounds toes the line. After this one, South Carolina will take on DePaul as they will head to St. Thomas.
I hear it's nice down there this time of year.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going. No one ever invites me, though. Possible second round game for the Gamecocks against Florida State down in St. Thomas. Emegano kicks it to Anderson from the baseline. Got that one to go. 74-59 now. Carolina out in front. 6 for Aaron Anderson. It was 33-30 at the break. And a foul against South Carolina's Kachinas.
Frank Martin just said to Dwayne Notice, he said, do you want to win or do you want to score points? And I didn't see what was on the shot clock there, but I imagine the point was, let's run some offense.
Carrera with a good rebound. Carrera bouncing around like he's the freshest guy on the floor, and there's good reason for it. Didn't play a whole lot. 3 minutes in the first half. And another rebound for Michael.
He's fresh.
4 boards for Carrera. 37 rebounds, make it 38 rebounds to 24 rebounds. South Carolina has just dominated the glass. Out of the corner. That one's good by Emegano. Timeout taken by Oral Roberts. Ties his career high with 31 tonight on the road. Makes it a 12-point game.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it's a 12-point game. If you can string some stops together, and that's why, Frank's not happy. And I think he's even more unhappy when he's covering his mouth because there's even more things coming out of it. But look, it's a 12-point game. If they can string some stops together, you've got a scorer like Emegano.
Overall tonight, though, you got to be happy with the Lithuanian connection. Kachinas and Hatkevičius.
And they've done it from all areas. And they've done it on that low block. They've done it on the glass. They've done it from the perimeter. Look at the face-up, the old Sigma move, and right to the basket with the left hand. And then here you see the old boards just wanting the basketball. Another one right here. This one Hatkevičius staying active, finding ways to put it, and then this nice little spin into the post move. Well done for both those guys tonight.
Kachinas at 6'7", a senior. Hatkevičius 6'11", senior. If they can get that kind of production, obviously it's a height difference, a substantial one here tonight between Oral Roberts and South Carolina. But regardless, if they can get that kind of production from their post play, that'll make it so much easier for the guys out on the perimeter. And Thornwell tonight, 10 points. He hasn't shot it very well at all, just 3 of 15. Does have 6 assists tonight to lead the club. And the other guy that I was hoping to see tonight was P.J. Dozier, but Dozier hadn't played many minutes at all. He is overall 0 for 3 from the floor, couple of fouls, in a total of 10 minutes for the All-American. Well, don't forget that you'll have a chance on the SEC ESPN network to see an all-access pass into LSU football for their big game against Arkansas last week. Never before seen footage and sounds from pregame to postgame. It's SEC Inside, presented by Chick-fil-A for Arkansas and LSU, Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern on the SEC ESPN network, and it's always streaming live on Watch ESPN. Off the bench, Dwayne Notice with 18 points, their leading returning scorer. And as you talked about, he has just accepted that role of being coming off the bench and being a guy that Frank Martin can count on. Frank says he's not really settled on how he's going to go with his rotation yet, but tell you what, having him come off the bench is a huge bonus.
Well, and you start to ask the question as a coach. You start to ask the question, is he better off coming off the bench? I mean, that's the one area, that backcourt. Thornwell's going to be there. You know that. You want to play Dozier because of the talent. But how you figure out that rotation is a question. I think they're solidified up front, certainly after tonight with Hetkevicius and Kaichinis. But that perimeter is that one area. You know, Carrera, as we said, got into foul trouble, hasn't played a whole lot, but does start for them. They're deeper, though, Dave.
Yes.
Much deeper than they've been.
Nine guys have played double-figure minutes tonight. There was a time last year, in January, February, where there were only 7 guys that were playing for South Carolina due to injuries and whatnot. Completely different dynamic this year.
Well, the thing you notice, too, is in practice, much more competitive.
That foul will go against Emegano, and that will send Thornwell to the free throw line. Emegano matching his career high tonight with 31. Thornwell misses the free throw, 3 out of 5 tonight at the line. Overall, the Gamecocks shooting 78% from the line, 38% from the field.
A lot of free throw percentages. Who goes to the line and who's shooting the free throws tonight? Hetkevicius 7 of 9, Kaichinis 4 of 4. So you're getting the right guys to that line.
.240 to go. In and out for Owens. Hetkevicius didn't waste any time.
Simple basketball. Defender Owens laying behind him. Early offense, toss it in, and he goes right to that right hand.
Boy, Jeffries, Daquan Jeffries hanging in the air.
As Scott Sutton called Jeffries probably the best athlete we've had here in some time. And you see that right there.
Bradley the rebound. Knocked out of bounds, and it belonged to South Carolina. South Carolina calling a timeout. Trying to get a couple of guys in the game. Dozier looks like he's going to check in.
You know, one of the things we talked about, Dave, you see the returning production from last season for South Carolina. It's the mixing of that experience I mean, you got 80% of your scoring coming back with the talent that's now infused. The freshmen, P.J. Dozier, Chris Silva. But the key with the depth is not only what you have in game, but probably more importantly, what you can do in practice. Much more competitive. You can go 5-on-5. And like you said, last year only 7 guys. You're not going to get a good look every day in practice. And there's that talented freshman.
Well, you got 4 freshmen on the floor right now. Raymond Doby, Jamal Gregory, Tamarcus Blanton, a redshirt freshman, injured last year with a severe hip injury, and P.J. Dozier along with Hetkevicius. And, well, Tamarcus Blanton will get in the scorebook. Reach-in foul. Good to see Tamarcus on the floor, though. If you don't know his story, last year early in camp, in a non-contact drill, hurt his hip. It ended up being a very serious injury. Had a difficult surgery, didn't even know if he'd play basketball again, and has really worked hard. I mean, at one point, they were thinking it'd be great if he just could play a pickup game every now and then, but he's worked his tail off. Doctors have cleared him to play, and he's gradually trying to get back in form. Bradley misses on the 3. Here is P.J. Dozier. Had it knocked out of his hands. It'll belong to South Carolina. .114 to go. Oral Roberts taking their lumps here on South Carolina's home court, but certainly a team that can contend for the Summit League championship. North Dakota State, South Dakota State battled a year ago for that championship, and more than likely will do so again, but I think Oral Roberts will have a say about that as Hetkevicius adds to his career high, 24.
Well, they have the best player in the league, in Emegano. You can go a lot of places with a guy like that. And North Dakota State's good, probably has the best front court in that Summit League, and South Dakota State probably has the best back court. But this Oral Roberts team, deeper, and mixing those veteran guys coming back with the freshmen. You see right there the preseason, those 3 teams at the top, really the favorites going in. How about the job this guy's done, though? I mean, how you knew coming in he could score. You look at the numbers on paper, you read about him, but to see him go to work tonight, even in the loss.
Here's Dozier. Hetkevicius, why not? He has 1 3 tonight. Give him 2. And he is adding to his career evening here at Colonial Life Arena.
You got to feel good for him. I mean, he's just the greatest kid. He does anything his head coach asks him.
And he'll head back to the free throw line. His second 3 of the night.
Oh, and he earned it. Have one, big fella. And it falls like a lot of his shots have tonight.
9 of 14 from the field, 2 of 3 behind the arc, 6 rebounds.
Look at that.
Pretty good night for the Lithuanians,
wow. And they've done it in a lot of different areas. You know, here at the foul line, they've gotten some points there.
Missed them both. South Carolina shooting 40% from the field. Oral Roberts at 44%, but they have been out-rebounded by 15 tonight. That has been the story. Second chance points, 25-6 in favor of South Carolina. Listen to the crowd for Hetkevicius.
Well, Scott Sutton in their shoot-around today told us we want to take away easy opportunities. They were good on their first shot defense, but those second chances killed them tonight.
Good win for South Carolina. This is a pretty good Oral Roberts team, and they take him down by 18 tonight here at home. 84-68 our final. We'll come back to Columbia and wrap it up in a moment.